Disguising coverages in the secondary can be fun, but don't have so much fun that you're giving up big plays. Today, we're going to talk about ways to disguise coverage without getting beat in DB tip clips. I'm Chad Wilson, owner of All Eyes DB Camp and author of 101 DB Tips. In this quick video today, I'm going to talk about ways that you can disguise coverage, hide your intentions from the offense without giving up the big play. In this day and age where there's so much knowledge out there, there's so much 7-on-7 being played, it's very difficult to show the offense something that they have not seen before after the ball is snapped. However, do know that the offense is trying to get as much information as possible pre-snap so that their reads once the ball is snapped can be quicker. What we're trying to do on defense a lot of times is muddy up the looks, make sure that they don't get all of the information that they need or give them false information so that we slow down how much they're processing after the ball is snapped and giving us an opportunity to be in places that they didn't expect us to be. However, in our, attempt to go in disguise, sometimes we're out of position, we give up a big play, and now all our disguising has worked against us. So what are some of the ways that we can disguise our coverage, limit some of that pre-snap information, and not give up the big play? Let's talk about that right now. The first way you're going to be able to do that, and this goes with a lot of what I tell you on this channel, is know your assignment cold. A lot of young guys, when they're playing in the secondary, really just consume themselves with only knowing what it is their responsibility is. That's cool. That's the minimum that you need to know to actually get on the football field. But if you're going to do advanced things like disguise coverage and or be a playmaker, just knowing your assignment is not going to be enough. You need to know what everyone else around you is doing. If you're really a guy that wants to make plays, you know what the other 10 guys on that defense are supposed to be doing on each and every snap of each and every play. However, just knowing what the back seven has to do will really, really help you when it comes to disguising. So you know how far you can move before the snap in your attempt to disguise. You have to know who's going to be where after you bail out of there. That's going to help you know where you can go, how far you can go to now rotate back to wherever it is you're supposed to be once the ball is snapped. On top of that, a lot of guys think of disguising coverage as just being in the certain area where I need to be when the ball is thrown, when there is a pass play. However, sometimes you're wrong about the fact that it's going to be a pass play, and disguising doesn't put you in your gap. So now you're not in your gap and a big run is given up, or you're not in a, let's say you're a safety and you need to be in the alley and you're disguising and you're somewhere in the middle of the field and the ball gets snapped and now you get out leveraged by the blockers on the offense. Could be a lineman sweeping around and blocking you off from that alley. Now the ball hits in that alley and now it's a big, nice run. It's not just about pass plays. It's about knowing where you're supposed to be in your run fits to help you with disguise. The next thing is knowing your timing. All right, be smart with your timing. Know exactly how things are supposed to work in that coverage. Some coverages will allow you to rotate down late. So, for example, some type of a robber coverage where you're coming from a too high look. You've got two safeties both on the hashes, and you can rotate in there late. You could even do that post snap. All right, and you can move in there late and kind of bait the quarterback into something. Some other coverages where you're trying to disguise and you're coming down maybe into the curl area to give a different look, and you've got to rotate back into the middle of the field. That's going to require you to leave a little bit earlier. You have to be smart about your timing and know where it is you're coming from and where you are trying to end up. That's going to help you stay out of the jackpot and not give up a big play. Know the timing, know how far you're coming from, know where you're supposed to end up. That kind of works hand in hand with the first element that I'm talking about. But now I'm really talking about pass plays coming at you, all right? You got to be smart with your timing. A late, some coverages you can rotate late. Other coverages, you kind of got to get out of there early and give up the fact that, yes, the quarterback is going to see you rotating, but if he's close to snapping that football, you're still messing with his head a little bit, all right? You're making that late rotation. The further you've got to come from it's probably going to do a little bit more to scramble his brain. And then that ball's going to get snapped. And now he's trying to process things after the ball is snapped. So know your timing and know how far you need to travel and leave with the right amount of timing. The further away you've got to go, obviously, the earlier you're going to have to leave in that cadence. And don't worry so much about the quarterback having seen you rotating or moving into the eventual area that you're going to be in. The next is knowing your depth, all right? Very, very important, especially for you safeties out there, but this also pertains to your corners as well. You guys that are trying to bail, sometimes you're going to need to bail earlier, and you need to know your depth. Sometimes you can bail and kind of just run out with the wide receiver as he's pushing you vertically. Other times you need to be about a good 5 to 6 yards off before that ball is snapped to play your deep third or your deep quarter or whatever it is that you're needing to do. Totally understanding the coverage will help you with that. Also, for you safeties, sometimes you want to perhaps give a quarters look. Maybe that's the main coverage that you guys run, and you are attempting to switch this into a cover two where you need to have more depth. Don't go so far down trying to disguise that you mess up the entire formation and depth of what it is you're trying to do. Cover two really does require you as a safety to have some serious depth because it's just the two of you back there trying to keep everything underneath you. You don't want to mess that part up. A good rule of thumb is not to come down further than 8 to 10 yards if you are responsible for some deep part of the field. So keep that in mind as well. The next part is use your sideline as an ally. All right. The sideline and the end lines are defenders in this game of football when you're playing on the defensive side of the field. If you're rotating from the middle of the field to the wide side of the field, then you know you need to leave a little earlier, or maybe you don't move into the middle as far because you've got a lot of ground to cover. When you're into the boundary, you can hold your disguise a whole lot longer because that sideline is right there. Understand the space in the area that you're defending, and that can allow you to work with your timing in terms of how long you can hold your look before you start getting to where it is that you need to be. Understand the dimensions of the football field. The same way that you will use the sideline when you're in man coverage is the same way you'll use the sideline when you are trying to disguise your looks and throw off the quarterback and the offense. Closer to that boundary, you can hold longer. You're to that field and you're rotating to that field, you got to leave a little bit earlier, or you align a little wider to get yourself to that area when the time comes. The final big part of this is communication. I've talked about this in other videos on here. Great secondaries communicate. And I don't just mean on game day. You guys have got to talk during your film sessions early in the week. You talk throughout the week about what it is you guys are going to be doing, how you're going to be disguising those coverages, and it really does help for you to do that because it doesn't do any good for you as a safety, let's say, to be down there disguising a coverage and your corner is out there giving it away as well. Sometimes one guy in that secondary can muddy up the look for the quarterback, but oftentimes if he can see that you aren't the one that's giving them the key and you're disguising, he will look to other places. And if your corners or your linebackers are giving away the coverage, then what are you really doing out there? You're really just playing fool's goal. You're putting yourself in a position to potentially get out of position because that quarterback already knows where he wants to go with the ball because the corners or the other safety is not disguising as well. Disguising works when the entire unit is a part of it and no one is giving away the plans. So make sure that you guys communicate. You know how you guys are going to be rotating, how you guys are going to disguise the coverage, and everyone's working together to confuse the offense. When this whole thing is done right, disguising can create ultimate chaos for the offense, especially those offenses that like to have the fake snap and then look to the sideline and have a coach watch the defense, figure out what the defense is in, and then try to call a play. If you're disguising right and you get guys moving around because they know where their ultimate assignment is, then that can create some really, really big problems for the offense and throw off those kind of offenses. Otherwise, though, if you're communicating well, everyone knows their assignment, and everyone is moving together to disguise, you can create a lot of problems for offenses, especially those that like to go fast. So stick to the things that I talked about in here. You want to use your sidelines as an ally. You want to fully know your defense. You want to know your run fits. You want to know where you're supposed to be in those. You don't want to get too far out of position. Know when you can rotate late. So understand the timing, understand the distance that you have to travel. And the big thing at the end is communicating. Finally, like I said, you guys have got to take those reps. You've got to take those reps during the week. If your practice time is not providing you with enough reps to get this thing the way that you want to go, there's nothing wrong with your unit getting together at the end of a practice and spending 5 and 10 minutes just working on your disguising, how you guys want to move back there. Your week leading up to the game is really just a rehearsal. And then when you get out there, now the play is going to happen. All right. It's like being on stage, like a Broadway stage. You guys rehearse right. Everyone knows their lines. You have a great play. If you don't know your lines, you fub things up. There's going to be a problem on, actual game day. So make sure you have your timing down. Spend the extra time if you need to do that. And you guys will be very happy with the results. Speaking about being happy with results, you will be. You grab yourself a copy of this book right here, 101 DB Tips. Everything in there that you need, from how to play nickel, how to play safety, how to play corner, how to train, how to press, how to play zone, how to watch film, how to prepare in the offseason. Everything that you need to know about being an A-plus defensive back is right here in this book. I'll have a link to it down in the description below. Also, if you're really trying to raise your game to the upper level, you got to join me in the All Eyes DB Camp members area. Over 200 videos and posts in there about all types of things like coverages explained, technique breakdowns, strategy on, confusing the offense, just like what we talked about today. I have quizzes in there. I have lives occasionally. And we also just sit in there and talk ball and talk about the ways that we can upset the offense. All of that in the All Eyes DB Camp members area. Also, a link to that is down in the description below. So a bunch of great resources there for you to up your game to the next level and have the kind of season that you want to be. That's it for me. Give this video a like and a share. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Got a great amount of DB stuff out here that you need being posted on a weekly basis. All right, that's it. All Eyes DB Camp. Consistency breeds results.